A Russian court rejected US journalist Evan Gershkovich's appeal against pre-trial detention on Thursday. The American reporter faces trial on alleged charges of espionage. Gershkovich was arrested in March by Russian officials. He was accused of illegally possessing Russian military documents. Meanwhile, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu has said that Ukrainian forces were decreasing their activity on the front lines. He added that Ukrainian troops were regrouping and consolidating their supplies. Shoigu addressed Russian troops and asked them to stay alert for Ukraine's offensive actions. A Russian diplomat is squatting on land that was earlier assigned for a new Russian embassy in Australia's capital, Canberra. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has said the squatting Russian diplomat was not a security concern. Earlier this month, Australia passed a law, and this law prevents Russia from moving its embassy in Canberra to a new location. This is because the new site would have been close to the Australian Parliament. US President Joe Biden and India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi met at the White House on Thursday. They hailed the relationship of the two countries. They called it a new era of ties between India and the US. This comes as the Biden administration signed deals with India for semiconductors, technology, space, and defense cooperation. Meanwhile, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi also attended the White House dinner later on Thursday. He was welcomed by Biden and First Lady Jill Biden. The White House rolled out the red carpet for the Indian Prime Minister. Dozens of leaders from politics, technology, sports, and fashion also attended the White House dinner. French President Emmanuel Macron welcomed Chinese Premier Li Qiang in Paris on Thursday. China's Li is participating in the new Global Financing Summit in Paris. Earlier, Li met his French counterpart Elizabeth Borne. The European Union's top diplomat has called for fresh mayor elections in northern Kosovo. This comes after separate talks held by the EU between Serbian and Kosovo leaders failed on Thursday. Remember, violence erupted in May when Kosovo installed ethnic Albanian mayors in its northern regions. The northern regions are mainly inhabited by ethnic Serbs. Meanwhile, NATO has deployed over 4,000 troops as peacekeepers in northern Kosovo. Greece's opposition leader Alexis Tsipras held a massive pre-election rally in the capital city of Athens. This comes as Greece will vote in its runoff elections on Sunday. Current Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis will face off against Tsipras. Tsipras has questioned the incumbent government for the migrant shipwreck off the coast of Greece. On the 14th of June, over 100 migrants were killed as their ship collapsed in Greek waters. Egypt has tightened entry restrictions for people fleeing the war in Sudan. This has led to the separation of families who are now split across the border. Previously, only men needed visas to enter Egypt. Now, even women and children who are fleeing the war in Sudan have to apply for visas. Since fighting first began in Sudan, over 250,000 civilians have crossed into Egypt. Saudi Arabia and Houthi officials exchanged bodies of fighters in Yemen. This was part of the recent peace deal which was signed in April. At least 64 deceased fighters were returned to their respective militaries. This is the latest sign of progress in Saudi-Houthi talks to end the 8-year conflict. Kenya is looking to table an anti-gay bill in its parliament. LGBTQ Kenyans are saying they are worried about their future in their home country. Kenya's anti-LGBT bill has been created on the lines of Uganda's anti-gay law. In May, Uganda imposed harsh anti-LGBT laws in the country, which include death penalty. They are considered some of the world's toughest anti-gay laws. Over 200 migrants were rescued near Spain's Canary Islands on Thursday. Spanish Coast Guard intercepted the migrant boat and brought it to safety. This is the fourth boat to be rescued near the Spanish islands in the last 24 hours. On Wednesday, at least 30 migrants were killed after an inflatable boat capsized on the same route. The US Coast Guard has found the wreckage of the submarine which was exploring the Titanic. All 5 passengers on board the submersible explorer were declared dead. Meanwhile, scientists have urged to halt any future trips to explore the sunken Titanic. Moving to climate, a severe hailstorm ripped through an amphitheater in Morrisontown in the US state of Colorado. At least 90 people were injured from the hail. Some even received fractures and lacerations from the unexpected hailstorm. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that his country has fulfilled its promise under the Paris Climate Agreement. This was at a press conference in the White House. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that it was the only G20 country to fulfill its share of promises made at the Paris Climate Summit. In 2015, the Paris Climate Agreement was signed by 200 countries. The signatories agreed to control their emissions to keep global temperatures below the 2 degrees Celsius rise. World leaders met at the new Global Financing Pact Summit in Paris. They discussed the need for reforms that are needed to tackle climate change. These reforms also include a new funding model for countries hit with climate crisis. The summit was led by French President Emmanuel Macron. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and South African President Cyril Ramaphosa were also present at the summit. Meanwhile, the World Bank's President Ajay Banga also attended the Paris Finance Summit. The institution has said that loans given to developing countries would be paused if the countries are hit by climate-related crisis. However, this clause will only be applied to new loans. Swedish climate activist Greta Thunberg also participated at the France summit. The 20-year-old said that pro-climate campaigners were being systematically repressed in France. She added that climate activists in France were paying the price for their right to protest. There is now a greenhouse theatre in the UK. It is England's first zero-waste theatre. The greenhouse theatre will have at least 16 shows in London this summer. The production shows will look to increase awareness about climate change. Construction on the mansion of Brazilian footballer Neymar has been halted due to environmental violations. Officials say that Neymar's mansion violates Rio de Janeiro's rules regarding land use and movement of freshwater sources. If the violations are proven, Neymar will be fined over $1 million. On to business now. The Bank of England has hiked its interest by 50 basis points to 5%. This is higher than what analysts had predicted. They had expected rates to rise to 4.75%. The interest rate is at the highest level since 2008. It is also the committee's largest hike since February this year. According to reports, financial firm Deutsche Bank is planning to cut about 1,700 jobs. This will impact positions in its German retail unit. If it materializes, the layoffs will wipe away 10% of the unit over the next few years. Reports add that the reduction is in the planning phase and is still subject to discussion with unions. Reports say American automaker Ford is also preparing a new round of layoffs. This will affect salaried workers in the United States. The job cuts are expected to impact employees in the company's electric vehicle and software division. However, details regarding the scale of redundancies are not known. Besides, American investment firm BlackRock will reportedly lay some of its employees. This will impact less than 1% of its workforce. Earlier this year, BlackRock had cut 500 jobs while reshuffling its teams. American conglomerate General Electric's aerospace unit has signed a deal with India's Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. The duo will work together in making fighter jet engines for the Indian Air Force. The development comes while India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on an official visit to the United States. Meanwhile, during his visit, PM Modi also announced that India will join the Artemis Accords. It is a NASA-led initiative to work together with other countries on space exploration. The program also ensures that member countries extract and utilize space resources for sustainable exploration. The agreement was first kicked off in October 2020. Social media firm TikTok's long-standing chief operating officer, V. Papas, has resigned. They have stepped down after a 5-year stint with the company. Meanwhile, TikTok has also announced that it has hired Xenia Mucha as its chief brand and communications officer. Previously, Mucha was with Walt Disney, where she worked for 20 years. Social media giant Meta Platforms will end access to news for all Canadian users. This is over its Facebook and Instagram platform. The access will be revoked after Canada's Parliament approves the Online News Act. Now, this act will require internet giants to pay news publishers for using their content. Meanwhile, Malaysian authorities have said that they'll take legal action against the Facebook parent. This is for failing to remove harmful content on the social media platform. Malaysia's communications regulator said that there has been a significant rise in harmful content on Facebook. These were related to race, royalty, religion, defamation, and scam advertisements. The US antitrust regulator argued that Microsoft's deal to acquire video game maker Activision Blizzard must be blocked. The Federal Trade Commission said this during a hearing to decide the fate of the merger. The deal would give Microsoft's Xbox consoles exclusive access to Activision games. The FTC argues this will put competitors like Nintendo and Sony's PlayStation consoles at a disadvantage. In sports, Manchester City are set to join Arsenal and Manchester United in a potential bidding war for West Ham skipper Declan Rice. Even though their previous offers for Rice have been rejected, Arsenal are still pursuing the player. Manchester United has also had discussions about the likelihood of a trade. City's Pep Guardiola had described Rice as a quote-unquote exceptional player last month. Chelsea's consortium has reached an agreement to become shareholders of French club racing Strasbourg. The agreement will see Blueco invest in Strasbourg's first teams and academy. However, Mark Keller will remain the club's president, having been at the helm since 2012. Strasbourg finished 15th in League One last season. The Board of Control for Cricket in India, or the BCCI, invited applications for the men's national team selector post. The post of the chief selector is vacant since Chetan Sharma's removal in February 2023. The BCCI also revealed the criteria and responsibilities of the interested candidates. Meanwhile, the process to announce a squad for India's multi-format tour to West Indies begins on July 12. US player Kyle Phillips has been suspended from bowling in international cricket with immediate effect. The decision comes after the ICC's event panel confirmed that the 26-year-old fast bowler uses an illegal bowling action. Phillips was reported following his side's ICC Men's Cricket World Cup qualifier match against West Indies on Sunday. Top seed Carlos Alcaraz has powered into the Queen's Club Championships quarterfinals on Thursday. He did so with a dominant straight sets win over Czech Jiří Lehka. The Spanish world number 2 eased to a 6-2, 6-3 victory. He will next face either an Argentine or Bulgarian player. Bulgarian Grigor Dimitrov has booked his spot in the Queen's Club Championships quarterfinal. The 2014 champion served 3 times throughout the match en route to a 6-3, 7-5 win. He is currently ranked 26th in the world. Dimitrov next meets top seed Carlos Alcaraz following the Spaniard's dominant 6-2, 6-3 victory over a Czech rival. The FIA is considering imposing more restrictions on pre-race grid access in Formula One. The step is being considered after safety concerns were raised following this month's Spanish Grand Prix. Guests include Brazilian footballer Neymar, was seen blending in with the team's crew on the edge of the track in Spain. They did so at the start of the formation lap. The International Boxing Association's recognition has been stripped off by the International Olympic Committee. This is over failure to complete reforms on governance, finance and ethical issues. However, boxing will feature at the Paris 2024 and Los Angeles 2028 Olympic Games. The Court of Arbitration for Sport has announced that Russian figure skater Kamila Valiyeva's doping case will be held from the 26th of September to the 29th of September. Valieva tested positive for the banned substance trimetazine at the Russian National Championships in December 2021. Astoundingly, the result was only made known on Feb 8, 2022, a day after she helped her team win gold at the Beijing Olympics. John Fendley, also known as Fenners, has exited popular broadcaster Sky Sports on Thursday. The news comes a week after several high-profile exits amid widespread job cuts, with commentator Martin Tyler also leaving. The 53-year-old presenter announced his departure with a heartfelt social media post. Fendley said, "Some of the crowd are on the pitch. They think it's all over. It is now. Full time for me. Thanks to Sky Sports for some amazing memories." In entertainment, Titanic director James Cameron has spoken about the missing Titanic submersible. He says that the diving community raised concerns about the sub. Cameron added that he was struck by the similarity of the Titanic disaster itself. He has made 33 trips to the sunken ship's wreckage as a long-time member of the diving community. Actor Dermot Mulroney is the latest celebrity to show support for the Writers Guild of America strike. He staged a walkout during a segment of television chat show The View to support the striking writers. Mulroney said that he felt comfortable to draw attention to the strike on The View as it is a news show with a heart. Quebec-based comedy festival Just for Laughs has announced honorees of its Comedy Pro event. Actor Quinta Brunson has been awarded Comedy Person of the Year. Meanwhile, Bert Kreischer has been named as the Stand-Up Comedian of the Year. The show is an annual global gathering of the comedy industry's biggest players. It will take place from the 26th to the 29th of July in Montreal, Canada. The lineup for the 41st Outfest Los Angeles LGBTQ+ festival is out. Over 170 films, documentaries and narratives from 25 countries will be showcased at the festival. Actor Melissa McCarthy and Will Falcon will be awarded in recognition of their allyship with the LGBTQ+ community. The festival will take place from the 13th to the 23rd of July in Los Angeles and the West Hollywood area. Beatles singer Paul McCartney has responded to the alleged use of artificial intelligence in recreating a new song. It was reported that a Beatles song was created from a late 70s John Lennon demo with the assistance of AI. McCartney says that nothing has been artificially or synthetically created. Pop band Gorillaz have cancelled the Gateway 2023 tour amid scheduling conflict. The tour would have seen the band play across the US between the 10th and 19th of September. In an email to their fans, Gorillaz said that they are gutted to not be able to perform this year. Singer Kesha and music producer Dr. Luke have settled a long-drawn defamation case out of court. The case dates back to 2014. Kesha had alleged that Dr. Luke had drugged and assaulted her in 2005. She said that she cannot recount everything that happened, but is looking forward to closing the door on this chapter of her life. Meanwhile, Dr. Luke has maintained his innocence. Rapper Young Thug will be releasing a new album from jail, titled Business is Business. The album is his first release since the incarceration in 2021. He was arrested on multiple charges including murder, drug and gun possession, robbery and carjacking. Many rappers like Drake, Coil Ray, and 21 Savage have reportedly supported his album. BBC terrorism drama Informer has received a German adaptation. Titled Informant, it stars Georgian Vogel, Eliza Schlott, and Iver Wi-Fi in the lead roles. Production on the 6-part thriller is currently underway in Hamburg. And finally, American game show Password is set to get a UK adaptation. It will be hosted by actor Stephen Mangan. Comedian Alan Carr and actor Daisy May Cooper are set to be team captains. The American version is hosted by Kek Palmer and Jimmy Fallon.